So, hi, I'm Gordy Hoffman, and I am very delighted, very happy to be with our 2010 winner of the BlueCat Screenplay competition for Below the Waist by Ian Simpson. This is Ian.
Hello.
Hello. There's Ian.
Hi.
And what?
Hi.
Hi, I'm here too. We just got done with a very spirited, beautiful reading of this tremendous script. It's really, truly a beautiful script. Where did the idea for Below the Waist, tell us just a little bit about, so that people that haven't read the script or read a logline, tell us a little bit about what this script is about.
The script
Below the Waist.
Is about it's a coming of age story about a 16-year-old wallflower who has to come to terms with feeling again after losing her feeling below her waist after a car accident at the hands of her best friend. So it's about it's a script about feeling and not feeling, and what feeling really is. Right,
which is something that we all hopefully can relate to. Now, where did the idea come from? Where did you kind of go, you started the idea in your head and I want to write about that?
The idea came to me in 2007, and I wrote like a really nascent sketch of the story. And then this past year, I got sick and spent a lot of time in the hospital and a lot of time here in Cincinnati being treated for that. And I don't equate my own sickness or whatever with paraplegia at all, but it became a much more accessible means to going back and looking at the story.
Did it help you cope with the personal experience? For
my own personal benefit, writing the script seemed to be kind of sort of like soul food in a way.
Right.
There was a real goal in getting it rewritten and making it into a movie someday. But then, in the same sense, there's a real personal sort of avenue where I just wanted to take the year that I've had and be able to contextualize it a little bit, doing what I love to do, which is write movies.
How do you start a movie?
I like to watch the first 5 to 15 minutes of movies, of new movies, of bad movies, of old movies, of great movies, of not great movies. It doesn't really matter. I like to see how a movie begins. I've been studying the beginnings of movies lately, how they really grab you and how they get your attention.
Do you write every day? Is there some sort of, how does discipline characterize how you proceed in your getting through your first draft? Or do you just sort of, when I'm, just shame yourself into getting going, or what is it?
I've changed I have kind of hard and fast rules that have evolved. For a while, for a couple of years, I would try to write 5 pages every day, and that is a great rule. If you can write 5 pages every day and really put yourself into those 5 pages, that kind of petered out for me. So now what I try to do is give myself between 5 and 8 good hours of work, and so I'm not giving myself a page deadline. I'm just giving myself a window of time that feels comparable to a day at the workplace. It feels like I'm checking in and I'm checking out, and when I'm done, I revisit it tomorrow. Instead of saying I have to write 5 great pages, because then you get caught up in how great each page has to be. So right now I'm working more with time than with quantity.
So how do you, when you get your first draft and then you get it out to people and you get some feedback, how do you process the feedback that's coming from all these different sources? What would you tell people that are sort of struggling with how to process feedback, what feedback is valuable? How has that changed for you over the years, how you deal with feedback and what feedback is?
It's a great question, and I think really what you have to do is be able to put it all in a pot and boil it down and once you get to like the salt of what really seems to be, you know, like ubiquitous. Like, what is this? Like, this person is saying this, and this person has a completely different point of view, but this person is kind of saying the same thing, and this person doesn't know what they're doing. They don't know, you know. I always want somebody to read that has no experience reading screenplays, because you always get a really valuable, like, definitively different point of view that way. So it's important. And so I look for patterns. I look for people saying the same thing, and I look for people saying things that I wish I had thought of.
So you get your pile of notes, and you got all your stuff organized, and you kind of boiled it down, and then you got your draft that was the caused the notes. Now what do you do? I mean, do you just say, okay, I'm gonna type this whole thing over, or do you go in and you're like, I'm just gonna work on this one scene and like work on this one scene? How do you actually work on the scene? Do you retype the scene over and over again? Do you go in with your cursor and cut and paste? I mean, how do you?
I really like working on. I really, you know, in such a like environmentally conscious age, I'm ashamed to say this, but I really like the feeling of working on paper. I don't like making tons of paper copies, but it's worth it when you get to hear people read your words, and it's worth it when you really go back. I have to also say that it's a script reads completely differently on the page than it does on a screen. There's a dimension that you miss when you're reading on a screen, so you really do need to print and read. Sure, everybody knows that, but that plays into how I revise. I will look at a scene and break it down in terms of the notes, and then really just kind of highlight and write myself notes in the margins and kind of incorporate other people's notes. And I like to use Sharpies, like different colored Sharpies. I like to get like a whole bleeding page going with my handwritten stuff and new dialogue and stuff on the page, and then retype that.
What do you want to direct?
I don't think I want to direct. I don't know if I want to direct. I definitely don't want to direct this by myself. I've had friends who want to co-direct it, and there's a possibility of doing something like that. But I don't want to direct right now. Like right now, I think I'd like to get more scripts under my belt. I think the best way to understand how to direct. I've directed a couple of short things, and I think the best way to understand how to direct is to write more. I think that a lot of directors should write more, at least for their own good. And so I would like to do more writing, I think, first.
Now, where did the movie thing start? The writing, like when were you like a screenplay? What's a screenplay? I mean, how did you go from, you know, whatever it was? What was the leap? What was the thing? Were you writing songs or poetry, and then you thought, oh?
I had a video camera when I was like 11 or 12, and my friends and I made like ridiculous movies that 11 and 12-year-old boys would make, like exactly what you think would be. That's what we did, but it was great and it was hilarious. And then I got an idea for writing a screenplay when I was in 9th grade, and I wrote a short script for the Scholastic, like the kids' Scholastic art and writing awards, and I got to go to DC, and I got an award, and it was a real, when you're like 15 and you're still figuring out like what the hell you want to do, it was a real validation of, you know, this is something that I like could possibly do.
Oh, that's great. So
the
BlueCat is just the 17th award that you've won.
I'm so tired of winning things like that.
So anyways, well, congratulations again. We look forward to everyone's submissions next year, and we'll see you all again next year and all your scripts next year, and I hope you're all as proud as we are of Ian and Below the Waist.
Thank you. Good luck to everybody.